Just wait 1 sec here.
You're listening to the iRacers Lounge podcast, where we discuss everything iRacing in a casual setting. Enjoy. Welcome to the iRacers Lounge. I'm your host, Mike Ellis. iRacers Lounge is a podcast for the iRacer, where we talk all things iRacing in a casual setting. Joining me are the usual characters, Brian McCubbin.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
Hey, Donnie Spiker.
Hey guys, how's everyone doing?
All right, great. Greg Hectus.
Damn, my phone just went off as you were talking there. Hey guys.
And this one says Beach Bum. David Hall.
That's right, that's right.
And Tony Groves.
Hey, evening, gentlemen.
On the show today, we will have a NASCAR up-and-comer show us the way around Atlanta Motor Speedway. There's more goodies coming from the Peachtree 3 charity race, and we'll look at the sim rig most likely to induce vomiting.
And remember, you can follow along with us on your PC or mobile device in real time as you listen to the show and see for yourself. All these great topics we'll discuss by visiting iRacersLounge.com and selecting show notes. So let's see you there.
Sim Coaches offers the realistic sim racing equipment you need to win more races online. It is designed for real racers. Hydraulic construction makes them feel just like the real thing. High quality construction, 100% leak proof, and lifetime warranty are the key features with these pedals. And they look absolutely amazing. Check out simcoaches.com and use the coupon code iRacersLounge to get 10% off your purchase. Simcoaches.com is your ticket to feel like you actually sit behind the wheel of a car, drive harder, and stay on the limit longer.
All right, opening up the topics, we have the iRacing June Top 10. And the theme of this Top 10 really seemed to be buzzer beater finishes, basically, like photo finishes. Almost every one of them was something along those lines.
I noticed an old one. These weren't all new. There was the Lotus 49 clipping the curb and doing kind of a sideways catch and save it and keep on going. But we saw that maybe 2-3 months ago.
They may have just now gotten a hold of it or kept it in the queue or something, then, because I remember covering that.
Recycled
but
it, yeah.
I don't think it's been on the top 10, though. I think it just got its own attention.
Ha.
Did you guys see any others that you wanted to mention?
I really like the pack of 5, the Legend Indy cars at Phoenix. Makes me want to drive them.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
I think they were 3 wide at the finish line.
Was that Phoenix or Michigan?
This
Old
one's Phoenix. Yeah, old Phoenix.
Okay, there was one in Michigan as well that was really tight. In fact, that one I think, or there was also one at Indy that I think was actually from the Pacific Majors League.
And the last one was the MX-5's 3 wide for the finish. So yeah, lots of good, cool, close racing.
Yeah, I enjoy watching the MX-5s in real life for the IMSA series. Do they race like that? If you race around Daytona, is it going to be that close? Drafting matter that much with those cars?
Yeah,
So you're not going to get away.
They're very low horsepower and they're boxy. So yep. Speaking of close pack racing, we've been in Atlanta this week, right? And Raja has taken a trip to Atlanta, Mike.
Raja Karuth gives us a tour around the Atlanta Motor Speedway with a few of his iRacing buddies, and it's from Fox, NASCAR on Fox. It's on their Twitter handle, and they've recruited him to obviously do this video, and he does some voiceover uh, as he's racing, with a few people, talking about the new track and how it's working.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great video to see. Just watch him explain how the new track's going to work, the out of bounds rule. But watching this would have been a really fun video to watch prior to even joining the sim. It gives some insight on iRacing in general, as well as the new track. But be a good video for anybody that's thinking about joining iRacing and building a rig.
He also talked a little bit about plate race tactics, right?
Yeah, I was kind of stopped at his hardware, and I don't think this is his rig. I would be surprised if it is. I mean, there's triples, but they're far, far away from the wheel. And he's got a Thrustmaster wheel that he's using. The seat is kind of a race seat, though. You can't really see what else he's got.
Yeah, this got to be the studio. When we had this last week, it was in his bedroom, and I don't know what the steering wheel was or the wheelbase, but I think this is their Fox studio.
All right, Tony, it looks like we've got an update from Mick Clearage on his world tour.
Yeah, he's a fellow riding his bike around the world, and well, he listens. Heard we mentioned him in his story and sent us a message back. He says, "Hi guys, it was so cool to get a mention on your show, but I got to clear one thing. I'm not a 15-time world champion on iRacing. I'm 15-time Grand Prix Legends champion. Big difference. I'm not a pro driver at any stretch of the imagination. Those pros in the WDC are different level. Anyway, like I say, it was great to get a mention about the ride, and whoever it was who said they'll buy me a beer in Phoenix, consider that a given. I never pass up a beer." Well, I think, Mike,
I owe
crack
somebody
open
a
the
beer
wallet.
there. I'm ready. Bring it over. Uh, Listen, I'll just interrupt your reading here, Tony, for a second, since he mentioned me. Yes, when you get to Phoenix, hit me up, and I will buy you a beer and dinner, and I'd love to hear some of your tales on the road.
And if you haven't planned your U.S. trip yet, come through Arkansas as well.
Yeah, Mick said that if you follow him on his Discord channel, which I am, you can post your name and where you live, and he'll try to meet up with you if you're on there. And by the way, being a Grand Prix Legends champion is nothing to sneeze at. That's one of the most diabolically difficult cars to drive anywhere in any sim I've been in. So yeah, that I wouldn't downplay 15-time Grand Prix Legends champion by any means. So that's still pretty good, pretty some serious accomplishments there. So I'm going to put my name on there, see if he's coming anywhere near the southern Pennsylvania, Maryland border type area. And I do a good bit of biking on my own. Maybe we can knock out some miles together.
Yeah, I butchered his post a couple weeks ago, so I'm glad he's listening. I'm glad he responded and clarified some things for us. So I hope he continues to listen and continue to update us, reaching out to Mike. But yeah, if he's in California and he's either coming out via I-40 or I-10, I live right directly in the middle of both of them. So whichever direction he comes from.
He says the ride's progressing nicely, and he's already met 10 or so iRacers on his travels through Europe. He's in Turkey at the moment and heading east into Central Asia, and the next guy to meet is in Singapore. So thanks for mentioning the ride, and if you guys would like to meet up, just put your names down on my Discord page like you had mentioned, Brian, and I'll add you to the list. The list is getting pretty full now, as I think I've got about 70 guys to meet. Thanks again, Mick Clearage.
Oh, cool. I mean, he's got a purpose. I mean, it's like I'm going to this place to see this guy, and it gives him a purpose, a place to go, a path. Very cool, Mick. It's so cool to hear about. Especially going through Europe and Asia, and boy, that sounds very exciting.
I'm curious what his logistics are. Does he have a chase car carrying all his luggage, or is he just kind of bringing one change of clothes?
Carry what you got, right? So I'm going to go back, was it 2 weeks ago, Donnie, and look at the iRacersLounge.com page to find that Discord link because I forgot to click on it and put my name in. So I need to remember to do that.
All right, speaking of Donnie looks like we got an iRacer or an iRacing producer that's going mod racing.
Yes, Kevin Iarelli is an iRacing producer, but still finds time to race in the modified series. Racing America tweeted out a quote of his. It's one of my favorite tracks to race at. It's always fun to go up there. They pack the place. So it looks like he's racing at Wise Cassette Raceway. Anybody know where that's at?
I bet you if Adam was on here, he would know. That's kind of his neck of the woods.
Yeah, so it looks good. He's got an iRacing paint scheme. Actually, the paint scheme looks really nice on this modified. So hopefully we could follow this up as well and see how he's doing. Do we know what he produces for iRacing?
I think he's a scanner. He does the scanning and stuff like that, I think.
Well, once they're called producer, that's also kind of an executive position, right? They're managing everybody else that's doing work as well.
So I looked up the track. It's a 3/8 mile banked oval in Maine. So yeah, Adam would certainly know about it.
Yeah, the Northeast is modified territory.
Have you guys been listening to Door Bumper Clear? Those guys love the modified races. They think they put on some of the best races there is. So it's a cool series to be part of.
But what tracks do they race at?
Well, New Hampshire this weekend.
More generally, what tracks do they race at?
Well, like Brian said, everything in the Northeast.
Or
Yeah.
more specifically, short tracks.
Yeah, more short tracks. Nothing super long from what I've seen, but yeah, they do a combination of track all over the place, different sizes, but more on the short side, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely a good piece of what makes it better.
I love that paint.
Yeah, it is a nice paint. Something that does make your car better is not using the auto clutch, right? And I got a chance to actually watch this video while I was sitting out at the beach earlier. Dave Cam tested the Audi GTE car, and he doesn't normally, but for some reason he had been running around with auto clutch. And so he did a series of tests in this YouTube video and clearly showed that it makes about a second and a half difference, even just in a single straightaway at Le Mans. He did the classic track where there's no chicanes on that big long front stretch. But it definitely makes a difference whether you clutch yourself or have it on auto clutch. And I actually remember being told about this back when I first started trying out the Mazdas. They said it was really important not to use auto clutch in the Mazda because the computer will just never shift as fast as you can.
It's not just auto clutch, but auto blip. He tests that as well. What's the third one? There's 3 or 4 options there in the driver aids, but he goes through all of them. And he basically, the conclusion was having none on is faster. If you use blip, you're giving up a ton of time.
The only one that didn't change anything is the anti-stall clutch. That just keeps the car from stalling out when you wreck or spin.
Right.
Yeah, auto shift was terrible. Auto clutch, I was a little surprised. I think he was a second off, like you guys mentioned. So I'm curious if that's why I'm terrible at restarts. So I'm going to have to get that off. I put that on in the beginning, and I got lazy, and I never took it off. So looks like I'll be practicing with it off now.
So I saw this video and I realized I've been running blip forever for many, many years. Just because I'm lazy, I guess, and that's what I got used to. But after seeing the math and the results, on this video, I turned it off. And so for the last several races, in the last few days, I've been running with it off. Um, I turned them all off, and so I have gotten to a point where I spun a car and killed it because I didn't put the clutch in, and so it's really given me some training to use the clutch when I usually don't. And so I'm gonna embrace it. I'm gonna go for it, and I'm not gonna run the blip anymore.
Well, we're running a simulation here. I guess the you want to try to get it as close as possible to the real thing if you want it to be a true simulation. Um, Obviously there's some hardware problems that people might have to use some of these um, um, helps, these aids, but yeah, I feel like you should try to get it as close to the real thing as you can. There might be a lot bigger learning curve to get good at it, but that's what you want to do. You want to get good at it.
You're right. I run a traditional H pattern, so shame on me for auto clutching it for this long.
I quit using the H pattern because Fanatec.
That's the one I have. I sent it back once, but I know better now what's inside, so I can swap the parts out as needed. But yeah, hopefully that's a change pretty soon.
Donnie, just wait till it costs you a win or something, and then you'll just, do what David did and do away with it.
I mean, I'm mostly only running the A car anyway, so I just leave it in sequential form.
That was my problem with it. Was sequential wouldn't work when I got it, so the inside switch went bad and had to go through the process. But so far so good since I got it back.
No, a lot of the older models had a major problem with the Hall effect center just not working right and throwing you into first gear instead of third. That's really irritating on restarts.
So I'll throw it out there to everybody. I mean, I'm going to challenge you: turn off the blip, the auto blip, and try it, and see if Dave Cam's right. I mean, his video is pretty convincing. I mean, you can watch him drive it the lap. You can see his inputs. You can see him doing it, and he's not screwing it up. And the results speak for themselves.
You can hear it as well. You can hear when he's upshifting with auto clutch on, just how long it takes to shift compared to when you use the clutch manually.
Right. You can just perceive that difference. It's probably only milliseconds, right? But the human ear can still perceive that difference, and milliseconds is a lot in racing, right?
It sounded more like it would take half to a full second to shift with the auto clutch on there. It took a long time. And most of the GTEs anyway there's basically the way those transmissions work. You don't have to use an H pattern or clutch. You just they auto slam. They slam shift basically. You don't even have to let off the throttle. I don't know if that was a specific feature just with that Audi, but I know the old Audi worked with pedals without any aids on. So next thing we've got though is the season 4 schedules. Tyler Huston has posted in the forums that if the community wants to submit the 2022 season 4 track schedules and the length of races, they need to do so by Tuesday, August the 2nd. Only the schedules submitted with the template provided are going to be considered. Only use community-based schedules, please. No individual requests. And we have several of the links for you to go get those forms, templates.
Yeah, we just got a sampling, 4 of them. There was probably, I don't know, 30 or 40 different posts because of all the different series. And but yeah, they're looking for everyone to get involved. But August 2nd, not too far away. So
Yeah, I usually follow this throughout the year. So for this season, I'll be looking for the super lates. I don't think I have to buy anything, but I usually like to see what everybody throws in there to anticipate if I do have to buy something.
Well, Brian, have you do you feel more back to center now that you're back home instead of out traveling?
I'd still rather be traveling, but home anyway. But what is off center is this gentleman Steph Gorgo posted in the forums that since the last update, his cockpit view is off center and actually looks a little bit diagonally to the left of the car. So a staffer, Nicholas Bailey, he actually replied to him that he got the same issue, but only when the FSR is enabled. So it's something that iRacing is actively investigating to try to figure out what's going on.
Would this be a single monitor issue?
No, it was. I think it worked. It happened in all three on some of the forum threads that I saw. It's just in the ones. If you're on triples, it's giving you on the monitor to your left because it's diagonally to the left. It's showing even further like behind the car, so it's affecting triple monitors as well.
So I think this happened to me, and that's why I found this. I got into a race, and when I got into the car on the grid, the way it looked on screen was as if I did the button where you look to the left. You know how you have the button look to the left, look to the right? It was as if I was holding down the look to the left, but I wasn't holding any button down. So I immediately assumed that I have a button stuck or I have something on the keyboard holding it down, or I have no idea. And so, I only got a minute to grid or something. So I jump out of the car, I go back in, and it's fine. But it freaked me out for sure. And apparently, I mean, these screenshots that they show, though, it looks like it's only twisting to the left a little. What I saw was my head was totally turned to the left, and I was looking out the left window, basically.
That's a good recipe for motion sickness to anybody.
For a moment, I was contemplating racing in that manner because I wasn't sure if I could fix it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to look at the right side monitor would be down the track. So I would have to turn my head to the right and my steering wheel would be over here in front of me and I would be racing. It would be really weird.
Yeah, that's actually one of the comments in the thread was who wanted him to make sure he wasn't hitting that button where you look to the left, but he assured him it was not that problem as you described too, Mike.
Now the workaround I wasn't real happy with because I want to run my triples in full screen. I run windowed mode full screen, which is like honestly the best way to do it. I don't I you know I challenge you to think another way is better, but yeah, that's the way it goes, and I don't want to turn that off.
Well, Tony, I know you like a fifth of certain things, but what do you think of this fifth to first?
That's some pretty slick moves by Nick Sudik. Drove his IndyCar from fifth to first in the IndyCar series at Michigan, and he's he's moving, and the moves that he's putting on are pretty damn good ones.
Yeah, this is the one that I got confused with on the top 10. This was the IndyCar race. And I'm pretty sure I heard him say Challenger, and I see a lot of similar paint schemes, like it's a certain team, Kinetic Racing, which is the dominant team in that league. So I'm pretty sure this was their race this year, their Indy 500.
Well, at the end there, I mean, he gets a run and he takes it down to the bottom going into 3 and 4 and just does the old slide job up in front of him and of course down to the apron to take the checker.
They definitely should send that one in for the next top 5 or top 10.
It was good, all clean passes and everything.
Well, you don't want to bump fenders. Oh, wait, you don't have fenders in an IndyCar race, right?
They got something in front of the rear wheels. I don't know if it's a fender, but some kind of bodywork.
All right, Brian, you've been keeping up with the Off-Road World Championship?
Yeah, last night, Wednesday night, that is, was round 4 of the iRacing Off-Road Championships. They were racing at Bark River, and the winners on the 2 respective features were Cam Pedersen and Josh Fox. So congratulations to those guys. Again, this is a really fun series to watch. These guys are really good. You know, it's cool to see these cars bouncing around, throwing mud all over the place and everything. So it's a nice series to watch. And we'll check out the points after the 4th race of the season. It's Keaton Swain. He holds the point lead. He's got 356 points, with Connor Bailey 11 points behind and second in points, and Felix Roy 47 points behind him. So round 5 is next week. They're going back to Wild West track, and yeah, like I said, when this originally started, these are all these tracks are all these off-road tracks. They're not any of the tracks you'll see in like the in the cars that do this, the rally cars. So limited numbers of tracks, and they're getting ready to hit the tracks for the second time around already after 4 weeks.
Now these guys are running the full dirt road tracks, right? Not the rally tracks.
Exactly. It's all road. It's all dirt. It's none of the rallycross tracks like you see it. Like you know, I know Daytona's got one. Iowa, I think, has one. All those guys are not involved in the series. These are strictly dirt off-road truck tracks.
Yeah, when I'd run these, I only ran on those rallycross tracks, and I didn't have fun. I didn't think it was a good match. I mean, some obviously guys were really good, but I need to try it on these bigger tracks, these more purpose-built tracks for these trucks.
All right, keep the other series updates rolling. We got the Porsche Super Cup qualifying as well.
Yeah, the iRacing Tag Heuer Porsche Super Cup World Championship will begin July 23rd with 15 spots available in the service's top road racing series. The top
This is
road
open
racers.
to everybody.
It's open to everybody. The top road racers on iRacing can take their first step towards making the 2023 Porsche Tag Heuer Esport Supercut grid, beginning on July 23rd with the Porsche Tag Heuer Esport Supercup qualifying series. It's a 6-week series. Looks like July 23rd at Hockenheim, the 30th at Silverstone, August 6th at the Red Bull Ring, August 13th at Watkins Glen, August 20th will be at the Nürburgring, and August 27th will be in Imola. Looks like all race sessions will open on Saturdays at 2:45 p.m. Eastern Time.
So I guess the $1 million question is, are any of the Coanda guys looking to return, or are they out for good? I don't know. You know, Josh Rogers obviously was not in it this year. That same with Mitchell de Jong. So a lot of those top guys did not participate last season, and I haven't heard if they're not coming back or again for this season or not.
Now, are they just running R Factor, or are they running with that software that bought the rights to the track in France?
Yeah, Motorsports. Yeah, they were running with them, I think, in that Le Mans series, which was on R Factor. But wasn't that the team that picked up the Porsche sponsorship? Or was that a different team? I can't remember, but if it is, I would expect them to be back since this is the Porsche series. But
Well,
they got to race in, right?
Yeah, and isn't that Motorsports team or the Motorsports software kind of flopping in financial trouble and such?
Well, that's what we've heard. The CFO said they couldn't make it through the year.
Brian, this next one might excite you a little. Being the guy that follows dirt the most.
Yeah, this is actually in reference to the World of Outlaws console game that's being produced in conjunction with iRacing. They're actually going to be coming out with a dirt track at the Texas Motor Speedway for that. So this is kind of the first time I've heard that there's a track that's going to be in this game that's not on the iRacing service. So kind of makes you a little jealous that they're getting some content that iRacing isn't. I don't know if it's because they don't go through all the rigmarole of the scanning process, and so it's a little easier for them to import tracks into their game, their console game, than it is to iRacing. You know, I certainly wouldn't want iRacing to lower their standards to get content that's not been scanned properly, but yeah, so that's what's coming up. That's one of the teasers for this new World of Outlaw games, that they're going to have this Texas Motor Speedway dirt track.
Well, I wonder if it opens the possibility to eventually be added to iRacing as well. Maybe it's just they've got to get it ready first for iRacing compared to the game.
Well, they got to have a real event there to scan it, right?
Correct.
So maybe they're waiting for that. But the other thing I was thinking is, you know, maybe the World of Outlaw game needs an exclusive over iRacing. You know, if it just gets the same content that iRacing already has, you know, is it going to drive people to go buy it? Especially if they're already in iRacing. Let's say you're a dirt racer in iRacing and they're trying to get you to get this game. If it has the same cars and tracks, is there any point to it? I mean, and so to give it an exclusive, you know, that could get some people to buy it that might not, you know, because it's a track that nobody's been on yet. Maybe it's like that, and then maybe iRacing can add it later. You know, who knows?
Well, one of the things that the console could add to it is things that you don't see in iRacing, like a career mode, things like that, or a leveling up system that you wouldn't necessarily see in iRacing, other than the licensing. But console tends to do things like that a little bit better than iRacing does, because iRacing has a different purpose to it. But yeah, if my only thing is that I just wouldn't want iRacing to bring tracks into the service that aren't detailed and scanned the way that they do. That attention to detail is one of the things that separates iRacing from other games and other simulators.
Yeah, we're learning their scanning is getting hopefully easier for them. But I wonder if they get a victory lane before we do, the console version.
I bet you they do.
I don't win a lot, but I want a victory lane.
Especially the Indy where you go up the elevator. That's pretty cool. There's a post in the forums about this where people are speculating just what we talked about. Is this, going to be on iRacing? Monster, who's putting out this game, is owned by iRacing, so you would think so. And we haven't had any staff response in the thread yet, but I'm watching for it.
All right.
And sorry, Dave, I was just going to throw out there that game is coming out in September. So just a couple more months away, that thing's be ready to unroll.
Tony, please tell me you've watched this little Instagram at Virginia International Raceway in this next thing.
Oh, yeah, at least like 6 times. Mike put it up in the chat last night or the night before. And we've talked about this before. This is that crazy Monday Night Madness put on by Daniel Morad. We got the pro trucks just having an insane race. Basically, just drive to the end, and however you get there, you don't have to stay on track. You go off track, smash into everybody. It's just absolute carnage. Let's throw up a little video iRacing did on the official iRacing deal there, and these trucks are just flipping all over each other, and just looks like they're having a blast.
Now, is this a
Oh, it's
league
pretty
or
cool.
is it a league or somebody's hosted session?
I believe
I
this
don't
is just
know.
a hosted race.
I'll have to mark it down. It does look like a lot of fun. Every time I see a video like this, I enjoy it, but I always forget to think about it afterwards.
I still want to do this again sometime. My favorite goofball race we've ever done was when we took the Roval and we took the trucks, the Pro 4 trucks, as well as the Radicals, and put them in a multi-class race. And you actually could run underneath the truck with the Radical and pass them underneath. And the
Nice.
and the truck would just keep going. It wouldn't wreck the truck.
Yeah, no, this is
Drive
the
under
type.
it.
This is the type of race that we need to do like on the off weeks.
Yeah, agreed. This looks like fun. VIR with Pro 4 trucks.
All right, this next one hits a little close to home. Mike Nebon has tweeted that iRacing needs to scan Memphis Motor Parks soon before it's too late. So yeah, there's a lot of active tracks out there, but apparently, and this is the first I've actually heard of this, it's going away. Memphis Motorsports Park. I've driven on this track, and I remember seeing a lot of races there back in the 2000s, especially back when Keselowski's career was first getting started. So this is a fun track. They put on some good racing, and I would love to see it in iRacing because, yeah, this would basically count as my home track. It's only about 90 miles from where I live.
Yeah, scan it. Why not? It actually looks pretty nice. So why is it going away? Are they going to build something here?
I like I said, this is the first I've heard of it. My best guess is they haven't had any NASCAR events in quite a while, and just not being able to stay afloat. That's just a guess, though. I'll see what I can find out next week when I get back home.
The truck series should be going to tracks like this, I believe.
They used to. But the last few races that they had were in the middle of the summer heat. A July race, almost kind of like at Nashville, a July race where everybody was watching the race from underneath the stands because it was so hot, and that's going to kill your attendance. And then I think the very last year, they actually brought in lights for one race, but I guess that was just too expensive, and the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series just quit going there.
All right, it makes sense. Those lights look portable. I was gonna ask if the weather changes when it gets dark. Does it cool down?
Well, it does enough. 109 degree index is partially related to the sun beating down on you when you have no shade.
So how many of these tracks can Marcus Smith and Dale Jr. actually save? I mean, they got it done with North Wilkesboro, and that was a miracle that happened. But Memphis Motorsports Park,
It's not
Pikes Peak Raceway.
Memphis is not going to have the same nostalgia as North Wilkesboro.
But
That's
there's
a
a
track
bunch
that
of them.
everybody
There's
loves.
a dozen of these or more tracks around the USA, as Nick talks about, that are unique ovals that are just wasting away. I mean, I went to Denver a few weeks ago to see some family, and on the way, I drove by Pikes Peak Raceway. What a shame. That's such a cool track, and it's just sitting there dormant. I mean, it's literally not in use.
Well, hopefully they can at least get it scanned so that we can at least still run it in the virtual world. But I don't think they can save them all the same way they did North Wilkesboro, because how many fans out there were constantly clamoring for bringing that track back. I haven't heard anybody say, other than me because I live there, bring back Memphis.
And I bet
Well,
location.
North Wilkesboro, they had a dedicated group of people trying to bring it back, didn't they? I was on their Facebook group.
Yeah, I bet
Well-
location plays a big part, because I could see if this is being Memphis, this land's probably worth a lot to somebody. I'm going to guess commercial properties, and maybe not as much in North Wilkesboro, but
Yeah, Danny, that's exactly where I was going to go. That track in North Wilkesboro was just going to sit there dormant for years. But Nashville's a exploding market, and the land is going to be more and more valuable, and they're not just going to let something sit there for years and years for you to guys come back 10 years later to scan it after it's been dormant that long. It's just not going to exist.
Well, it's not Nashville; it's Memphis, which is not quite as
I'm
exploding
sorry.
as Nashville.
I'm
It's known as a little bit less safe city, more along the lines of Chicago than Nashville is. All right, Mike. What about Knaus and Ottinger teaming up?
Yeah, so they're talking about the Peachtree 3 iRacing event, and I was just looking to see if I think it's going on as we speak, or maybe it starts in 30 minutes from now. I think it starts 30 minutes from now. It hasn't actually started, but Nick Ottinger, Chad Knaus, and Steve Myers from iRacing, they're going to run a car together, and they've been kind of pushing for donations. At least Steve Myers has on the Twitter, and he basically said everybody who donates to the cause and on Twitter shows me a receipt for it is entered into the contest, and I will pick a winner, and that winner will get a what he calls a premium iRacing membership. And if you're already a member, it would be a $2,200 in iRacing credits.
So it's a VIP membership. So I'm assuming that you get like all the tracks and all the cars all at one shot.
That's right. Yeah. So if it's a new account, they just give you all the stuff all at once. Um, but if you already have the stuff, they just give you the credits to be able to buy everything.
Well, I wonder if you could actually use it to create a second account, right? Because I'd almost want to do that instead of having it put on my account that already has half the cars and tracks. Though, the other thing you could spend all the money on is a lot of hilariously fun hosted races.
So he picked a winner. It was Corey Saucier, and he donated up, what was it, $50? I can't really see. And he won the big prize.
Yeah, it looks nice. When he tweeted that out, and it looks like as of yesterday, about 20 hours ago, they got up to 5,000 based on his tweet to get people going.
Okay, so here's the start time. That's the next story. Um, they're going to be on the front page of Twitch. Greg West has somehow arranged this, and so they've moved the race up, and it starts at 4:30 p.m. Eastern, which is right now. Oh, no, that's not right. Yeah, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, which is right now. So it's about to start, but you can see it on the front page of Twitch apparently.
That's good. That should bring in some additional exposure for iRacing in the wider gaming market. I actually have that. Half of my stream watchers are just people who randomly find it and ask about iRacing that don't even play iRacing. It's pretty odd, actually.
So I just went to twitch.tv. I don't see it yet, but maybe it's too soon.
So I remember this race last year. During the race, people were donating big bucks for sneak peek content stuff. They would let go a couple of secrets, during the race if you made a big enough donation. And I remember last year we got some information that wasn't yet publicly made available. So I'm hoping after this race we have some cool stuff to talk about next week that's going to be coming up in iRacing.
Yeah, you're right. Steve Myers indicated that Greg Hill did have some juicy tidbits that he would show during the race. So we're either going to talk about those later on this show or next show. but I'm certainly watching for it. All right, let's go into housekeeping. Leave us a review of your favorite. Let me start over on that. Leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform to make it easier for more listeners to find the podcast. Mention us to your fellow drivers so they don't miss out. We do appreciate it. Get involved in our Discord channel. We got a lot of stuff going on there. And don't forget the website, iRacersLounge.com. We're also on the Performance Motorsports Network.
All right, Brian, the first thing we have in hardware software is a Cubic System QS220 review from Sim Racing Garage.
Yeah, we do. Before we do that, let's take a look at fantasy, since Tony's here to expel on the fantasy season.
That's my bad. I'm not in my normal setup here. That's going to be my excuse here. And I'm not editing it out because also I'm not in my normal setup here. So y'all get to hear one of our live screw-ups.
Hey, that's all right. The way that I do this fantasy thing, I'd rather just kind of skip right over it anyways. But we got a whole bunch of people that actually did do good. Last year's champion, Res Dog, showed up in proper form this week at Atlanta. He came in second place, and Ray J took the top spot. And I also want to look there for Smiling Ninja coming up in third place, and I know that's a rare showing for her this year. She seems to be having a lot of the same issues that I have been having, and it looks like Bobby Jonas was able to make the top 10, and that's it from Team Tifosi. Greg was able to grab a few points, but man, he's way back there in 15th, and the rest of us suckers, we're off the page. I don't even know where the heck we were.
Yeah, this week was going to be just a toss-up. I put a lot of guys in that I didn't pick. I did take Recky Spinhouse, but he failed me at the end.
I got burnt by him too. I didn't even get to see this race at all. I missed the whole thing. I was gone for the day. I was able to make changes just before the end of the second stage, but yeah, for me it didn't really matter. But it sounds like I missed a pretty good race, actually. At least a pretty good ending to the race. I really would have liked to see Corey LaJoie up there, leading the race and showing his face up front.
It seems like the broadcast and the non-driving portion of the industry loves this race, loves the racetrack, loves what they did to it. Do the owners get compensated enough to take their cars to these plate races?
I imagine it's got to be worked into the budget somewhere. Cost of doing business, can you say?
Well, when we're drivers, we kind of hate it. But then you just listen to Junior, who switched over from driving to, he was great at plate racing anyway, but still they don't like, a lot of them when they become broadcasters, like, oh, well, I like the lottery effect of it now because it adds excitement. So, I don't, that's a good question, and they probably deserve a little bit of compensation for all their wrecks, but
because now they're getting 6. They got to take their cars to 6 races throughout the year. That's a potential 6 totaled cars.
There is a possibility. The TV contract soon, right?
Yeah, they got to redo that. There is a possibility that Atlanta will still wear some, even with that configuration, that it won't always function like a perfect plate track.
Good point.
Yeah, up the horsepower on them. Hopefully some more wear. Run that in the summertime so it's greasy for them and hopefully less packing up.
But that's what NASCAR wants, is that plate race. That's exactly what they want. It's what they were trying to get with the Gen 6 car and just didn't manage it. Now they've found it. So, I mean, they're going to probably try to do more of this. And I think we have enough of it already.
So the points, it's Louder Racing leading, Greg Hectus by almost 80 points. So extending that lead. And then Greg is about to fall to third, fourth, and fifth, who are chomping right behind him in points. So we got a good battle for second, brewing.
Yeah, that's a really tight battle right there. That's going to get super interesting over the next couple of races to see how these guys shape up and how the dust will settle. Definitely something to kind of tune in for to keep on these on this fantasy stuff there. This is where it gets exciting.
I heard somebody mention last week that the points will reset. What does that mean? Does everybody get to reset, or are only going to select a few guys to continue on?
The way that they've done this in the past, yeah, everybody that's ran, all the points reset. The driver uses reset, and the rules package changes just a little bit. I believe I think you can run each guy 5 times. Yeah, and then that's for the remainder of the playoffs.
Okay, for reals this time, we're starting hardware software. So, Brian, we got the Cubic System QS220 review.
Yeah, this is brought to us by Barry Rowland over there at the Sim Racing Garage. It's the Cubic Systems QS220. It's a 4-actuator motion system. It's pretty much a plug-and-play motion system where you just get the 4 actuators and the 2 controllers, and it has its own software that lets you fine-tune it. And yeah, it's made by this company is actually owned by a company called Motion Systems. So if you've never heard of Cubic System, Motion System is actually a company that's been around a long time that makes all commercial grade motion systems for all kinds of different applications. So this is a company that has a long history and a well-established history in motion systems. So he was not surprised with that, to find that the construction was really well made. All the circuitry was well thought out and well placed. The performance of it, he was very happy with. It's like I said, it's a four actuator system. Performed really well. But the thing that he held against it, and I did too when I first watched the beginning of this video, and he didn't mention it to the end, is the mounting brackets are sold separately, which is they're like $68 a pop. So you buy this whole system, and then you have to add on $240 plus to get the mounting brackets that actually mount it to your rig. And it's made to go on any kind of 80/20 or other types of profile systems. So it works with any type of profile rig. But yeah, it just seems weird that they wouldn't add that to it. And if you didn't know that beforehand, you're waiting for this thing to arrive, and you got no way to mount it to your rig, you might be a little upset. But performance-wise, it's very solid.
Yeah, that was pretty much his only complaint. I thought it was interesting watching. I got to watch the